So today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to speak like you are, speak like you know who you are. How about that? Let's walk like we got somewhere to go. Let's talk about it on today. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Let me bring my Zoom people on in. Let them come on in, come on in, come on in. Well, good morning, good evening, what to do? How are you? Hootie hoop. Happy Thursday too. I am the sound of money in your ear, dollar Avant. That's deal double O. I'm often imitated, never duplicated. They call me the $1 billion babe, aka the pitch queen, aka the people's coach, aka Coach Dollar Bill. And you are in the dollhouse. This is the home of high value entrepreneurs. Over here, it is day number 43. 43 days of this 100-day challenge. We're not playing any games with our own potential, our own brilliance. What if you gave 100% of your best effort 100% of the time for 100 days? What if you followed your intuition 100% of the time for 100 days? How would your life get different? What if you stopped looking outside of yourself for the answer and the value? Because you understand that you are the value. How about that? How about we just do that? You know what I mean? It's whatever. Y'all can do what you want to do. But over here, we're rising. So I'm helping you graduate from hustle to habits. I'm giving you the exact playbooks. All you gotta do is run the plays. So you can shift your identity from employee and consumer to entrepreneur and start to collapse time by learning how to build your business at the speed of money. And so people can keep playing these games in these streets, do what you want to do. It's fine. I have lived many lifetimes. I came back just to let y'all know that this world is not built for y'all and it's at the end. You want to hear the most disturbing thing I've heard in quite some time? I can't even say it on live stream. All I want to let you know is that according to the script that they have been running for these past several Super Bowl shows, they're at the end of the book. They're at the end of the script. So what's going to happen? I don't know. It's not looking good. Kendra told y'all game over. I don't know what to tell you. You need to get your life together. Get your house in order. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. So anyway, if you don't have time for these games, if you're ready to normalize $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month, just doing what you do, just being great. You know what I'm saying? Like you are enough because you are everything. You ready to normalize that? That's what we do here at 2:00. So appreciate y'all being here, jumping on. And, catch the replays in Dollhouse 2.0. That's my school community. So I can't even talk about what I discovered when I talk about this script. I'm just saying, who knows? Who knows what's going to be happening in 2027? That's all I can say. This year right here is going, the whole world is going to get different. And you want to be on the right side of history. So let's figure it out. Did y'all hear that? Let me see what's in the news. Let's see. I'll try not to go on rabbit holes. I don't want to talk about what I've been studying all morning. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Did y'all know? Like everybody talking about no, I can't say that. I'm streaming. I can't say that either. Nope, I can't tell you. Let me see. Some news. That I could actually share on live stream. Well, this is just a fun fact. I thought it was interesting. Who am I? What does this mean? I don't know what it means. They said, no, I'm not going to talk about that either. Nope. I have to censor myself. Okay, we don't have a news break today because I'm going to get in trouble. I'm streaming live. Ain't nobody got time. We got stuff to do. So just know that what's happening in the world is not for you. It's not looking good out here. It's not for you. You need to get some money. Okay, so let us talk about this. Let us talk about, okay, we know we need to be outside. We've been clarifying all of our stuff. We're almost 50 days in. Okay, y'all. If you've been doing the work, that's a big if, you have clarified your offer, you got your 5-star pitch, you're doing your big 5, which includes practicing your 5-star pitch every day. That includes actually going through the Afro method in your mind and preparing as if you're about to go out and have meetings with real humans. Pick your Afro, literally pick. PICK, that all stands for something. We talked about activating or inviting people that you know in your inner circle, sending actual physical messages to real humans so that you talk to 5 to 10 people a day, or at least reach out to them to try to get them on your calendar, and then broadcasting your brilliance, actually showing up on social media in a way that is informed by, we don't skip steps over here. So it's informed by conversations that you've been having with real humans. It's informed by the reframing and the reworking of your 5-star pitch, it should flow like water because you've been doing it in the right order. And then number 5, we're documenting our progress every day in our CRM. So it's not like, I don't know what happened. I'm just floating around. Because business is just relationships with numbers. You can't just be floating around and expect to build a sustainable, scalable business. And that's okay. Everybody doesn't want that. Some people just want to, like, I don't know, float around. I don't know. That's like appealing to some people. And it's cool. I don't know what that is. Some people kind of like working for big companies. They want to be able to say, well, I work for this company and I'm with this firm, all of that. It makes them feel like they're doing something. And that's fine. Me, my personal worldview, and the people that I serve, it feels more risky to me to try to go and, like, get a job or work for an institution or anything like that, because you don't control what those people are doing, who's making the decision, what's going on in the rooms that you're not in, that could determine whether or not you have a position, right? So the most dangerous people out here, the ones who have the most at risk, are the ones who inside they're very, like, no boundaries, no structure, no nothing, right? But then externally, either they got the credentials or they were raised a certain way, or life makes them, forces them to take a path, and they're like, okay, I'm going to get a, air quote, job, right? And then they go and get jobs, or, a series of contracts, or however that is. So they're working for an external company, but they still don't have a structure and a system. So they're getting paid. I remember, I don't know. This was when $80,000 was a lot of money. I don't know what year this was, but it was like somebody in my family. You know how you have, like, older cousins and you're like, you just think they're so cool and all that. So she had just left college and went into the marketplace. I don't know how she got this job, but $80,000 first job. And we thought that was just $1 million. I did at the time as a kid, right? And she would call my mom and just be so upset, and just crying and stuff, because she was in debt and she couldn't pay her bills and she was behind on everything, and she's always stressed about money and what am I going to do, and I was in my little child mind. I'm like, I'm confused. You made how much money and you still struggling with money? And so what happens is we get a position in an external institution and we use the money that we get to just fund more of our chaos, because we never get out of, we only do what our parents force us to do. We only do what school is forcing us to do. We only do what, the curriculum, or, our boss is telling us to do. But as soon as we get out, it's like, and we have no structure. We get money in our hands. That's just energy. We don't have anywhere to channel it. So it comes in our hand and goes straight out. We at the bar, we at the club, we taking weekend trips, we at the hookah lounge, we just buying, oh, I need this. Oh, I need this. Oh, let me get this. Oh, you just, we don't know. And you feel like, oh, I need these things, but you don't know where the money went. You don't know where your time went. You turn around, you look around, and it's like, wait, I don't know. But it's okay, right? Because you got another check coming. So then what happens is you lose your job. You lose your contract. The client disappears. So now you don't have that external system, you don't have any internal structure, and you don't have anything saved because you just been wilding with no structure. That's the position that most people who are big dreamers and visionaries find themselves in. But it doesn't have to be that way. Because what I've noticed is inside of these institutions, or in these corporations, or even people who start their own thing, the common thread among them all, they or someone on their team is extremely organized. They are on point. They're showing up. They do what they say they're going to do. Here's my time. This is my word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I get it done consistently throughout. That's what I've seen. The people that get promoted, the people that don't get laid off when they make layoffs, the ones that keep those jobs in those big companies are those people. The ones that are like, oh, they're superstars, but we don't know what they're going to do from day to day. They're the first to go. People who have savings, they can stand their ground. They can negotiate for higher salaries. They could do, because they got some cushion. They could float a little bit and then go get them another job. You know what I'm saying? They nurture relationships. They're intentional. They actually schedule When am I going to network with these people? Let me make sure I go to lunch with such and such and so this group of people at least once a month. They are intentional about everything they do, how they spend their time, how they spend their money, and most importantly, their social capital. They develop skills, they do all the things. While people who are running with no structure are always looking for something outside themselves because they never center and ground themselves. So part of the work that I get to do here in the dollhouse is to help you find it. You got to find the tools, got to find it within yourself. Whatever day it is, whatever age you are, it doesn't matter. If you just got out of college or you're supposed to be in retirement age, it doesn't matter. You've got to find it and anchor yourself in something. There's nothing in nature that's just floating around out here with no structure. We're supposed to be like a tree, planted, so that the system has something to work with. If you just one day you're here, the next day you're here, the next day you're here, you know, the algorithms that we all use, it's based on nature. The universe is looking for patterns. Your brain is looking for patterns. So it knows what to do. And if you don't show up consistently in anything, you putting in chaos, you're going to get chaos back. But if I can give you a set of tools and frameworks and a simple way to take all of that brilliance, all of that genius, all of these ideas, if I had, take all of that and channel it and then anchor yourself to it, like intentionally, not like optionally, like I'm going to do this because this is what my schedule said to do. Just like when you were in school, just like when you used to have a job or you were in college or whatever, when somebody else was telling you what to do. You have to have that level of structure for yourself. And this is not about like discipline in the traditional sense. This is the highest form of artistry. Let me see if I could pull this quote up because I thought it was pretty powerful. Because we talked about this on day 39, day 40. We talked about the number one skill that you have to have as an entrepreneur if you're going to really be successful is to be able to hold two realities at the same time. You have to be able to actually function as a mature grown adult in this 3D realm. Everything you have to deal with, bills, relationships, people that you know, things that are happening in your life, but also not allow it to affect your emotional state, your nervous system state at all. Because in the 4D over there, where your idea comes from, where your imagination is, where your intuition comes from, where you come up with thoughts and higher thoughts. That's what I want to call it. You got your lower mind and your higher thoughts. Over there with your higher thoughts, we're not bothered. We're not concerned. We are detached. I don't care. I just had a conversation with you. And now I'm moving on. I'm not concerned. I'm not chasing you down. I don't need you to do nothing for me. I'm good. I'm tapped into source over here. You have to be able to be that and also be present in your lived reality at the same time. This is a skill of an artist, okay? Well, let me read some quotes. I got some quotes. F. Scott Fitzgerald. If y'all don't know who that is, it's like one of these literary people that they celebrate these white people from the 20th century. He said, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. So it turns out that oppositions are actually a part of what it means to master our lived experience on the planet. Okay. So we have these oppositions and all of that as we live our life. And we're supposed to learn how to find play and joy in that and learn how to balance it. So people like actors, poets, dancers, people who are they're almost aware. It's almost like they're coming, like things are, the energy is flowing through them to the audience, right? So they're aware that I'm here and I'm a person and I'm a human, but also they're tapped into the creative source at the same time. That's why the stage is the way, the whole thing, the whole world's a stage. We are supposed to be able to hold the energy and I remember I told you an audience is going to turn into a community, and that's what turns into your customers, your capital. But you got to have an audience first. If you just, one day you hear, the next day we can't find you, there's no audience. There's nothing, what am I looking at? One day you doing magic tricks, the next day you doing ballet, the next day you're like, no. You can't have an audience if you don't lock in and get some clarity on what it is that you actually are doing. That's why we do that work. But the people who are comfortable living in those two worlds at once and functioning, these are the people that we admire, that we aspire to, that we lean in with, that we want to learn from, that we want to work with. And that's what you have to be as an entrepreneur. If you're rising, I'm going to teach it tonight again, because I've been teaching this, y'all know, since 2020. I've been teaching this since, when did I start working with SCORE? I don't know. Been almost 10 years now. And there's 5 levels of entrepreneurship. And the goal is to progress from being just an entrepreneur. I got an idea. I'm just out here, took a risk. I don't have no job for real. I don't have no money. I'm just jumping out here. I'm not celebrating you in that. You can't stay in that energy. Then we moved from level 1 to auditing, where people start reading books and going to classes and going to events about entrepreneurship, but you're still not in the game. You're not in the game. You're reading books about basketball. That's not going to make you a good basketball player. You know what I'm saying? You got to at least get to level 3, which is a founder, somebody who's establishing systems that are going to get a predictable, repeatable result. How you talk to a human, get them to engage with you, turn that human interaction into a transaction, then put some numbers around it so we could predict what's going to happen in the future. That's a business. That's where you get your graduation cap. That's step 5 on the entrepreneur's roadmap. Then from there, you become a builder. Now you're actually getting out here and doing the work to expand, to make this thing grow, to make connections with people that could take you further. That's the partnerships and the sponsorships and all these people that everybody wants to work with. We want to jump to that part. You're not on that part yet. Okay. And then step 5 is you can legitimately call yourself a CEO, where you're overseeing sales, systems, and staff, so that you could actually step away from the business and it's still working without you. Now, everybody says that's what they want, but everybody's not showing up like that. So I'm giving us the baby steps, all the nuances to get there, to get from this idea of what greatness could be and should be to actually experiencing it. So you have to be able to hold these two energies at once. Like dancers do it, actors, singers do it, actors do it too. They got one foot in, they know they're a person, they know they're not really this character, but they also are tapped in to whoever, whatever character that they're portraying in the moment. They're expressing information from a different part of their brain in that moment of performance. Poets do it. It's like a bridge, right? When they speak and write in poetic terms, writers do it. You activate both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously. So the left side is processing language, the right side is processing, intuitive and linguistic stuff like that. And you have to be able to do that as an entrepreneur. There's really no way around it. Okay, so you have to be able to deal with the reality of making sure people got their order, setting up the basics, templates and email newsletters and whatever the things are, physical things. But you have to be tapped in to a creative source that's going to give you an actual outcome, not just doing stuff just to do it robotically. Because if you're just doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, like you write a business plan. Okay, I need a funnel. They said I got to do a funnel, so let me do a funnel. They said I need a landing page. Let me do a landing page. They said I need this, so let me do this. And you just robotically do it, but it's not tapped into source. You're going to get crickets. And you're going to be like, why is no one doing anything? Why is no one moving? Because you haven't done this part. You got to go to a place. You got to go there, bring the energy, let it flow through you to the people and make real connections. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. So we've been on this journey, clarifying our offer, internal certainty. I gave you a very basic sales method, which is how we do the Afro method. I taught you how to withstand in the face of when things don't go your way, rejection, things taking longer than they should, all of that. We talked a lot about regulating your nervous system. Nothing works if you don't do that. We talked about the 3D versus the 4D. So again, that's your lower mind versus your higher thoughts. You got to make a choice. You're either rising or you're falling. So I need this at every point of decision to choose to rise. And then we started talking about this value ladder that everybody needs to build. This is starting with something that's free or very inexpensive, but some type of way where they get some messaging from you, some article from you, some content from you, some free something from you that solves an immediate problem and makes them want to take another step with you. Right? And then from there, we need something that's very inexpensive that they could purchase that brings them closer and further into the world, and so forth and so on. Hopefully, you kind of know what your signature offer is and kind of what that framework is. We talked about that yesterday, and where you're leading people to. Like, what is this world that you're inviting them into? Like, what is it that you really want them to do? It's not just buy this thing one time. That's not sustainable, right? Anybody who's ever had a job, the company that you worked for had something that was sustainable. Otherwise, you didn't have a job very long. The company wouldn't be in business very long. They had something that was bringing repeat customers in, or people who had contracts long term with them, or some type of system that was constantly bringing new people into the business. You have to have a heartbeat, a cadence, and then somewhere that you're leading them to, right? So you might make a special offer just to get them in the door, but then once they're there, they need to have more and more, steps to take down the road with you in your business. So we've been talking about this. This is the foundation. You can't skip it. You can try it. It's not going to work. Okay, so we need to kind of build an engine that's going to start bringing all this new energy into the work that we've been doing. A lot of it has been internal. Okay, that's what social media is all about. That is where you go get this word traffic. That's where you go get the humans beyond the people that you know, because you should be calling everybody you know, by the way. Not everybody you know, but everybody that's relevant to what you do. Everybody you know should know what it is that you do. So if you started a new business or you pivoted or you're doing something different, everybody that you know that you have a good relationship with, they should be hearing from you. Hey, I just want to take 5 minutes. You got time to talk? I just want to tell you what I'm working on. And your very clear, super duper clear 5-star pitch would lead you to a call to action that makes a lot of sense. So this is the type of person that I'm looking for. Do you know anybody, any organizations, any people who fit this, or this? Or maybe it's something that you're interested in, and let that conversation flow from there. Every single person that you talk to, because you don't know who they know. You don't know, oh, my success, we're just talking about this. Oh, my company that I used to work for, they're actually looking for this. Or, oh yeah, there's an opportunity over here for this. You don't know. So I really don't want to hear nobody telling me they don't know how they're going to make no money, and you haven't called everybody in your network with your certified, new, refined, and proven 5-star pitch. We start there. So that's our circle of trust that we're activating and inviting every day. You're supposed to be working on that and adding more people to this very warm inner circle where you can reach out to them and actually get them on the phone or actually get them on a call, or they'll respond. If you send a message, they'll message you back. This is a non-negotiable, but okay. I know people don't necessarily do that, and that's fine. So technically, you could start a business from zero on social media and win, but you would have to be just as intense and just as intentional about everything that I've taught. The only difference would be you would get on there with 0 people, 2 people looking at your videos, but you have to talk like you're talking to one person. You have to have a very clear value proposition. You can't post one day about gardening, one day about this, one day about that, one day I'm over here, because the algorithm is confused. Just like the universe, they don't know what you talk about. They don't know who to send to you. So guess what they'll send? No one. You have to be super intentional, right? So just like I said, every successful person that I know, whether they got a job or they're an entrepreneur, they're super organized and intentional. Likewise, everyone that I have studied who is winning in the social media game is so consistent and so intentional. You know exactly what their channel is about. You know exactly who it's for. Exactly what they're going to be bringing, the type of content they're going to be talking about every single time. There's no confusion. They got a hook at the beginning. They got a consistent format. They have a theme that they approach, and then they give you some value, and then they got a call to action, and they get out of there. Every single post. Y'all have seen people doing it, but the level of trial and error and do it again and try this and see what works and keep tweaking and get better and make sure the thumbnail and the hook and the title and all this, that's the level of intentionality that's required. Most people don't want to do that because they got limiting beliefs in their head, like, oh my God, social media is crowded. I can't, blah, blah. See, so that's why we got to go back to the first 49 days almost that we've been working. Because if you don't deal with that, you won't do the work to find your footing on social. But social media is an engine that will allow you to scale your business, but not the way you've been taught. Okay. Because in 2026, I've been saying this, it's not about going viral. It is not about having millions of followers and all the kind of stuff. That's so cool, so cute. And I know you see some people on your feeds that got out, that's fine. But guess what? They started 5 years ago. They started in 2005, some of them, 2015. We're not talking about that. Everybody has changed their algorithm, so it's fine. They work for you. Remember that Substack, YouTube, LinkedIn, these people work for you because they need people on the platform. What do they want? More people on the platform. That's all they want. And they want them to get on the platform and stay on the platform. So if you make 37 videos that are all amazing, such that everybody wants to stay on YouTube all day and night and watch all your videos, then they're going to boost your videos. They're going to send it to more people. They work for you. It's an ATM machine for attention. That's what social media is. So if you haven't gotten the book, you need to go get the book, Day Trading by Gary Vaynerchuk. Day Trading for Attention by Gary Vaynerchuk. You'll find it. Just type Gary V. And read it. Okay? Now, what I'm teaching is not actually from that book. I haven't actually broken down. Like I'm going to start our book club I keep talking about. I'm going to go through it and break it down. But every time I've ever assigned a book to anyone, shout out to Clara, if they actually read the book, it impacts them. It changes them in a way that is meaningful to their business. So don't just ignore me. I don't say books often, but when I do, you know what I mean? You need to read the book. Because you have to get past whatever resistance you have about social media, whatever resistance you have, that unless you're going to be in these streets for real. And I don't say these words to sound cute, y'all. I mean what I'm telling you. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about where the flow of energy is. Okay. It's not in the house. It's not behind your computer. It's not playing on Canva and playing with logo colors all day and getting the gradient just right. I want my gradient. You know what I'm saying? That's not the right shade of blue, all this kind of stuff. That is step 8 on the roadmap. There's only 9 steps. That is not what you're supposed to be doing right now. Most of the time you're doing all that, we're hiding. We're hiding. We're hiding behind the computer instead of going out here and getting this money, getting this work done, getting these reps in. Okay? You need to be not just good, you need to be great at going out and talking to a human and telling them what you do and starting a conversation. Yes, with a random stranger. You should be able to have a dialogue and a conversation and be so comfortable and confident in yourself and who you are and how you're showing up that you could actually turn a random conversation into, I need to holler at you. Or, oh, somebody I know that they need to talk to you. Let me connect you. Most of your conversations should go that way. Okay. So the skill level, we have to rise. Just like if you wanted to be an artist, you wanted to be a poet, you wanted to be a dancer, you wanted to be an actor, you wanted to be a singer, you have to, basketball player, you got to get in the gym and do these reps. You cannot just be like, well, I'm talented. Like, no, we got to show up. So that's what this is for every day at 2:00. That's what the replays are for. They'll be up in the Dollhouse 2.0 at 6. If you're watching like a replay and you're like, John, what is going on? You need to look for a link somewhere. It'll say the Dollhouse 2.0. Just go there. We'll figure it out. I got you. So social media in 2026 is not about going viral. We are speaking with authority through authenticity. We're speaking with authority through authenticity so that the algorithm can work for us. Okay? And I'm not talking about being, better vocabulary. You guys, I'm modeling it in front of you. Okay? I went to Harvard University. I then returned to study data analytics at Harvard Business School. I also studied data science and statistics at MIT. I'm extremely off the charts intelligent. I can use all the big words that somebody wants me to use. I don't talk like that. Why? Because the humans that I'm talking to don't talk like that. My job as an entrepreneur and now as a master teacher is to communicate my ideas and transfer this energy. Words are containers for energy. I have to get you to feel, to see, to hear, to understand, and have the same image in your head that I have in mine. That is my job. So I choose the vocabulary that's going to speak to the people that I'm speaking to. I don't teach I used to, don't get me wrong, I have, and they have been great students of mine. But 85% of the people that are in my, group there's some level of professional, or there's some level of whether they were educated or were supposed to be, or they thought they were, or their mama was, or there's something. I don't, you know what I'm saying? There's a level of, there's an intellectual curiosity, let's say it that way, in the people that I serve. So that's who I'm talking to. I know my audience. I don't teach tech bros how to make it in business. And this is for a reason. It's not my audience. I'm a I'm a technologist, award winning. That's not who I'm speaking to. I know how to talk. When I have to go and do a tech presentation, then I talk technical terms. Okay? So you choose a vocabulary that matches the audience that you're talking to. You don't need professional speaker training. If one more person tells me Toastmasters, it is not 1985. What are we talking about? That is not what you I mean, it's fine. If you're doing that, shout out to Toastmasters. It's fine. I'm just saying, even if you don't have all of that, if you don't have a bunch of charisma and a bunch of, credentials and all this kind of stuff, you don't have to do all of that. That's not what makes people listen. Let me say it that way. Okay? What makes people listen to you is when your words are containers for energy. So if that container carries the essence of who you actually are, that's what's going to make the connection to the person that you're talking to. Not who you think you ought to be. Not hiding behind some other role that you think, okay, if I show up like this, then it's who you actually are. Okay, so today we got to learn about this authentic communication. Okay. Dare I say that authenticity is the new algorithm? Dare I say? Now, all the people that I've studied, that again, millions of people downloading their podcasts, 44 million followers across all channels, out here winning for real, this is what they say to me. Authenticity is the new algorithm. Okay. So when you speak, when you open your mouth to speak, number one, this is why you have to speak. This is why I speak so much in my group. When you open your mouth to speak and when you create content, whether you're writing long form, you're on Substack, whatever it is that you're doing, it's not about transmitting information. There's no lack of information. We can go on Google and find this. Don't tell me something I can go Google. Okay, that's not why I'm here. Ain't nobody got time. Turn to your neighbor. You got a neighbor, turn to your neighbor. Say, ain't nobody got time. We don't have time. We're not here to just be like, here are the top 3 reasons why. Something that I could find in 2 seconds on a Google search. Nobody wants to see that from you. You're not adding any value to anybody's life by doing that. Okay? It's not 2005. This is not that. SEO, all of that is dead. Okay? If you don't have a body of work and a community checking for you and some kind of personal brand or name recognition and AI get through, when AI fully takes over, the whole search of everything becomes AI powered, you don't exist in this world where we're headed if you don't do this work that I'm talking about. Okay, so when we speak, we're not here to transmit information. We're transmitting a feeling. Now I'm giving you the notes as they were given to me. You could do what you want to do, or you could listen to people that have trained me, who got millions of people listening to them, a million downloads on their podcast a month, and the like. Okay, you decide. So this is science. Y'all have heard this before. When somebody speaks, only about 10% of what we receive from them is received from their words. The other 90% of what our brain receives is energetic, how they feel, how it makes us feel, how they move, how they present themselves, okay? The stories that they're telling, the state of being that they're in and therefore put us in. Because when you show up, even if you're writing, even if you do a faceless channel and all this, people be asking me all this stuff, none of that matters. It's the energetic signature that you put on it. It's going to come out on the other side of whoever reads it, consumes it, okay? That's why they use the word consumption. We consume content. It's literally, it's going within somebody and they're having an experience with what you put out. Okay, so if it sounds like you're just checking a box, they're going to check out. If it sounds like you're trying to be something that you're not, they're going to feel uncomfortable and it's not going to work. It's not going to stick. Okay, so before people process what you're saying, they feel how grounded you are, whether or not you regulate it, how comfortable you are with yourself, the nervous system state, your emotional state, all the things that we've been talking about. This is true when you're in person with somebody, and it's even more true on social media because now we got distance between us. We're not even in the same room. I can't necessarily feel your aura the way that I would if we were in person. Like, it's a lot going on. So most content doesn't work. Even when you're saying something that's valid or important or intelligent or whatever, it doesn't work because you're too worried about, is somebody going to like this? You want to be validated. You want to be understood. You're looking for the clicks. You want to be approved of. You don't want to seem silly. And all of that communicates inauthenticity. That is the energetic signature that you're putting out. So if you're over explaining yourself, filler language, you're doing too much, nervous energy, you keep apologizing. Okay, y'all, all of that, trying too hard, doing too much. People can feel it. And whether you're meaning to send this signal or not, it feels like desperation. It feels like something's off here. They feel unsafe. And so they start to withdraw. They scroll on, they go head on. I won't be reading that again. Now, the next time they get your email, they're just not going to open it. Because the last one they read and you just rambling on and on. Why are you telling me this is a lot? It's a lot. It's like 18 paragraphs. What's going on here? So next time I'm just checking out. You know what I'm saying? You got those 3 seconds to catch somebody, if that. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, you're causing other people to pull away from you. So we don't have that luxury. And that's true when you're in person, and that's also true for everything you do in terms of the content that you create. Okay, so here's where the shift comes. We're locked in, we're committed. Okay, I've got to do the social media, not because I want to, not because I feel like it, but because this is where the people are. And if I want to scale my business, if I want to have a community of people that are checking for me, who are looking for my product, so I never have to wonder where my customers are going to come from. It's not going to magically come once I finish this course. It's not going to magically come once I finish this next product. It's not going to magically come once I finish this next credential or whatever. The money only flows through people, and it's your job to create a system that brings new people into your world. And they go from audience to community to customer. Those 3 points are required to have stability and sustainability in your business. You can't skip it. So when you make that commitment, you're locked in. Okay. Guess what I did? First thing I did, went and found a coach, Substack coach, YouTube coach, LinkedIn coach, email newsletter coach, and podcast coach. Literally, some of them I had already bought courses some time ago. Some of them I went and found some new people because I don't play. I mimic the masters. Why would I try to reinvent the wheel? Like, okay, I know what to do. No, I don't. What do I? I've been boycotting social media since I don't know when. T-shirt line coming soon. I hate social media. I'm still gonna do it. I'm gonna have journals, everything. But you know what I'm saying? So why would I act like I know what I'm doing and I know I don't know what I'm doing? Like, I know what I'm doing. I study, I'm smart. I can figure it out. But why would I do that? Find somebody who's been really trying to go. So I did that. So you anchor. That's how you anchor in the 3D reality, right? So now it's on my calendar. I got to go through the course. When they tell you to do something, you do it. They tell you to take this prompt, you do the thing, you do it. They tell you to do whatever it is they tell you to do, just do it. Not like, oh, I know that I'm supposed to do that, but you don't do it. And then you go through 8 weeks of a course and you hadn't done none of the assignments. And then you're wondering why you're not getting the results on social media. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. So you anchor in the 3D. But then you also, remember, you got 2 jobs, not one. You're an entrepreneur. So you're responsible for the system that controls the system. Now, like as an employee, it's just go to work, do what I'm supposed to do, dap it up in the lunchroom, clock out when it's time to go home, get my check, the direct deposit, sit down on the weekend, watch Bad Bunny. That's it. You ain't got to do nothing else. But when you are responsible for your own destiny, you have to show up and do the work, lock into the present moment, and also pull from that unseen realm where all of this energy is coming from. You have to do that. So the shift that we have to make on the 4D, the higher thoughts, is the shift. Instead of speaking for approval, you need to learn how to speak from yourself. Speak as you. Okay? This is a shift. Stop creating content for approval from other people. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? How is it going to look? And who cares? What are we talking about? There ain't nobody looking anyway. We don't even know you. We're not watching. How about that? How about we start there? Nobody's watching you. Okay? Nobody cares. Literally no one cares. Because the people you worried about, they're not on social media either. People in your house and your cousins, them, what are we talking about? So stop it. Nobody's looking. All right. So we got to get out of that mindset. Shut that down. That's a downward spiral. Remember, we have a choice. This is a moment of decision on today. You got to decide to stop worrying about who's thinking and, oh, this is so much work. Da, da, da. You get to be on social media. Do you understand when they shut down the internet, you go wish you had this opportunity? We don't have time. You guys. I don't keep talking about the Super Bowl because I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I'm just using a cultural reference point. Is that all right? You know why? I didn't know what the man was doing. They were climbing up the thing. I thought he was Jesus on the cross. He had 3 wooden poles. They're sitting on the thing. I was like, what is this? Is this like a ship? Like, what are we doing? The people were sitting on the top of some wooden poles. You know what that was? Puerto Rico. Okay, when they had Hurricane Katrina in 2017, it saved me from marrying the wrong man, but that's another story. And Trump was in office the first time. I want you to understand that hurricane wiped the entire island, shut it down. Some of those people were out of power for 300 and something days, almost an entire year. And I need you to understand that all the intel and they're running simulations. Just like they ran a simulation before the last time when the world shut down. Y'all know what I'm talking about in March 2020. They had a simulation for that. They have run a simulation for what if just everybody just didn't have no power? What if the internet just went down? What if? Did you see the movie Leave the World Behind? Have you seen it? Go on that. Get you a guest pet. Borrow somebody. Don't do that. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. Go find Leave the World Behind on Netflix and just watch. They're telling you. What if ain't no power? What you gonna do? So we don't have time to be like, I don't want to get on such. You get to be on social media, okay? This is an opportunity. They work for you right now. You got a free pass to find these people. Find you somebody who's on the same energetic wavelength as you and give them what they want every day to the point where they start checking for you. They're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm gonna go see what they talking about today. I got people on YouTube that every day, my feed, no, you better bring me a video from these people. This is where I get my news now. You know what I'm saying? And they post probably 3, 4, 6, 8 times a day. I don't know. But you're consistently showing up, your audience will consistently show up for you. So we get to do that. So instead of worried about approval and resisting it, we're choosing to start. Let's learn how to create content from the place of authenticity that flows from who we actually are for real. Okay? If you continue to try to do it and still manage how you're being perceived, worry about what somebody thinks about your delivery style, I find that laughable, honestly. I find it laughable. Yeah, well, I don't think that Listen, do you? I am not concerned with how anybody perceives me. There is no artist. There is no successful person that is middle of the road, lukewarm. Everybody loves them. It doesn't exist. You're going to show up in a very specific, a very clear lane. And there's going to be people that gravitate to that lane. And there are going to be people that just hate it. They bounce off of it. It's like, why is she doing that? Why would it? I don't understand why. But she can't do that. And she did. But it's not for them. You got to learn how to not be concerned about how you're being perceived. Because when you shift your focus, you're that powerful. When you shift your focus to how you're being perceived, your content loses power. You drop back down to the 3D. When you're worried about what somebody thinks about you, you'll be spending all your energy trying to figure out what they need to hear, how to say it so they'll like it, what to do so the algorithm will favor you. And you're trying to like go through all of these gymnastics in your head. Well, what would they engage? Well, maybe they'll like it if I do it this way. Well, how if I did it? It's not going to work. You're no longer grounded. You're no longer tapped into your source of power. Okay. But once you make that switch, you'll automatically carry authority. without effort because you're enough. When you show up in your authenticity and with consistency, you are enough. You don't need everybody to be your client. You need your clients to be able to find you. That means you got to shine your light long enough and consistently enough for them to see it and be like, oh, I see it. And then they're going to make their way to you. And we're giving them a pathway to make it easier to come in there. That's it. That's all we're doing, y'all. So social media is a tool to help us do that. We don't have to convince anybody. We're expressing something that you already trust. It's coming from a place of internal certainty. So now we're just sharing that with the world. Okay? You don't need millions of followers. We're not trying to go viral. We're not trying to be TikTok famous. We don't need any of that. You need the right people to notice you. That's that 1174. You need to make 11 touches. We need them to trust you. 2 to 7 hours of content that they can go and watch at any time, do what they need to do. We need them to connect with you, right? We talked about the currency flow and how to make sure you're showing up and giving them these touch points, these small, free, very inexpensive experiences that they could take to come closer into your world. Not, hey, I just met you, want to buy something. No, I don't know you. Okay? And eventually they will buy from you because that connection is the birthplace of all currency. So if we set up the system, it takes the weight off of us, let the system do the work. But all of this comes from authentic communication. So let's learn how to speak from this lived experience. We're not trying to impress nobody. We ain't got time. We're not concerned. We're regulated. We're grounded. We know who we are. And then when you trust that your words are worth hearing, that's when the right people are going to lean in. Okay. This is energetic. It's an energetic exchange. You don't have to see it for it to be real. Okay. You have to know it. All right. So let's talk about some practical stuff. The 90% rule. Again, 90% of what people receive from you is not from your words anyway. It's not. It's your energy. So what do I post? How often do I post? Which platform do I use? Okay, that's cute. Which we don't even talk about hashtags. Don't worry. You notice that. It's not about keywords and all that. Listen. Let's make the shift today. Are we creating from internal certainty or external validation? Is your nervous system regulated or dysregulated? Are you being authentic or are you trying to perform and put on some clothes that don't belong to you? Y'all know the story of David and Goliath. Everybody knows the story. You know, if you read your Bible, if you have your Bible, turn to your Bible. And the story goes, he was, shepherd, and they were at war, so he would be sitting watching sheep, and the brothers were at war, and then he would take them the lunch, take them lunch and stuff. And so he went out there, and then here come Goliath, and he talking crazy. Y'all ain't nobody, and y'all, and all of this, and everybody running, they scared because he's a giant or whatever. Okay, so David's like, who is this man? Who is this uncircumcised heathen? He said, who is he to be talking crazy? He don't know. Does he not know who we are? And they're like, shh. Like, boy, David, you can't be talking like that. That's such and such. So that's how I be. I'm David. I'm the problem. Okay. I'm the little girl. I'm the 5-year-old. They're like, people get all nervous, like, oh, such and such celebrities in the building, like that. And I'm like, okay, but what about this though? I hear what they're saying, but they're just ignoring the fact that, it's the end of the world, for example. I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to be the one in the audience. Like, I heard what you're saying. I love it. I love this. But what is the World Cup? The planning committee of the World Cup in Atlanta. What are we doing about the fact that America is canceled? Can we talk about this? Nobody want to talk about that. So I'm David. So he's like, who are you people? Who are they to talk about us like this? And they were like, shh. So then the king hears it. He's like, well, bring this young man. If he want to talk crazy, bring him over here. So he said, you can fight him. You can go up ahead and fight him, but you're gonna have to put on. We got the armor for you now. It's a little big. You a little scrawny. You old enough to be out here. Okay, don't worry about it. Here, we got some armor, and they put all this stuff on him. This is not his stuff. Somebody else's armor now, and they just get him. Okay, we gotta get you. And so they put all this stuff. He can't hardly see. He's hanging off. And he got the little sword. He can't even pick up the sword, right? And you know what he said? He said, this is not mine. This don't fit me. I can't do this right here. He took it all off. Stop trying to be something that he's not. And he went out there with the same little slingshot and rocks that he would use to get the wolves away from the sheep. The same thing that he had already been doing. This is a story about authenticity. And he went out there and the giant up there, look at this, look, who is he? He can't do nothing. No. And he said, bing. And we know the story. He beat the giant, okay? You can't win this game trying to be something that you're not, okay? You have to be authentic. You can't be performing a role and trying to wear clothes that don't fit you, okay? But if you get the energy right, then your content is going to work. There are people on social media doing extraordinarily well. And they don't know not one formula or framework that I'm teaching y'all. Not one. They just talk, they ramble, but the authenticity and the clarity about what is this channel even about is enough for them to build community, and then people ride with them. You go in the comments, they don't play about these people. And that's all that it requires. And then they say, oh, by the way, y'all, I got my t-shirt. Y'all want to, you see my art on the wall, you want to get some, just go ahead and buy it. And they make money because they have community. That's all that's required. You get you an audience. When they get here, it needs to be clear what it is they're participating in. What am I watching? And now we all like it. We all have a shared experience about what it is that we're consuming. It becomes a community. And then from that community, you can get better. Like a lot of these people can get better. They don't have format and structure and all of this, but they could be a lot better at the system that then leads to turn that community into customers. I'm actually teaching you how to show up in authenticity, what to talk about, and have a formula for that so you don't have to think about it. It's not based on how you feel. And the back end to turn that energy into people trying to pay you money. That's what I'm actually gifting you in this 100-day challenge, because it's a gift at this point, child. I don't, who gives this much value? I'm not sure, but I am. So we got to make the shift. If you get the energy right, your content is going to work. If you get the energy wrong, all these strategies will not save you. Okay. So we got to learn how to speak from a place of authenticity. That's the most important thing. Okay. So remember that we are transmitting feeling, not, it's not what you say, it's how you feel when you say it. Now, remember, I told you I got this from my mentors. So you want to listen to people who are out here winning on social, or you just want to do what you want to do? Okay. How you feel when you say it. Okay. So when you get ready to hit record, check your nervous system. Are you regulated? Are you grounded? Are you locked in? Are you present? If not, don't record it yet. Don't write it yet. Whatever it is you're doing, get yourself together first. Okay. Number 2, if you're over explaining, using a lot of filler words, you're talking in circles, you said the same thing, you go back and watch your own video and you said the same thing 17 times, you didn't really say nothing. It's not because you're a bad communicator. You don't trust what it is that you're saying. You don't trust that it actually has inherent value. So you're trying to convince instead of expressing. Because again, there are people building audiences and doing very well. Their videos, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour thing. It's what comes out of you and the natural way that it comes out of you. That's what you need to be focused on, but not convincing anybody, just expressing. Okay. Speaking from yourself, not for approval. We're not asking what somebody wants to hear. We want to talk about what's true for you to say. They don't need you to try to show up the way you think that they think you should be. They need you to be you. Okay. Something they can't get anywhere else. It's very important. All right. So you need to talk like you're talking to a friend. One person, like you're talking to one person. Okay. When you're talking to a friend, you don't qualify your words. You don't like try to put it in any kind of context, because you assume, you don't apologize for taking space. You just speak because you assume that person values what you have to say. That's already built in. So there's an element of pretense that goes away. You need to talk to your audience like you're talking to one person that's a friend of yours, and figure out who that person is and what they want to talk about. And you have that conversation and you provide that value. and you show up for them and you be present with them. And then when you're done, you get off, you go head on. But you got to speak. Assume that your words are worth hearing. Stop apologizing. I didn't come here to hear you apologizing. What are we? What? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for y'all. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together. And then all of this, like all that energy, just sit right there. This is what I want to say today. Have the conversation. What do y'all think? Give me your feedback. Da-da-da-da-da. And then go head on. That's it. That's it. That's all. If you're writing an article, it's the same thing. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something. Let me start by telling you a story. You tell the story like you're talking to a friend. And then what that caused me to believe or realize is this, is this. So I was like, no way. So I go and look it up. And actually turn out this word means da, 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 da. And that same word is over here and over there. And da, 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 da. And boom, boom, boom. So this changed my life. How did that impact y'all? Let me know what you think. And you're out. That's the content. That's all you got to do. That's it. Okay. So you can't speak clearly if you don't think clearly. So long, winding explanations, you just going on and on and on. That means you're not thinking clearly yet. You got to go find the clarity. So some of the good uses of AI, right, is to clarify your thinking. If you're just like, I think that I'm thinking about this, blah, 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 blah. Can you help me to think about it? Blah, 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 blah. And it can spit it back to you. You're like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now you go and create your piece of content. You got to have the clarity though. You got to have the diamond, cut, carrot, color, clarity. You got to have the diamond. You got to know what it is that we're talking about in this piece of content. Okay. So vague speech equals vague thought. So you got to think clearly first. Be present. Be present. Can't be worrying. You can't be worried about your to-do list. Can't be anxious about the result. All of that. Okay. You got to be present. And that's going to get you better outcomes. Shout out to David Bayer for talking about this. And you need focused thought equals focused speech. Okay. Speak from your own experience. You can't be present talking about something that you don't know nothing about. Okay. They say that to writers all the time. They say you can't write about what you don't know about. Same thing. How are you gonna make content on something you don't really know what you're talking about? Like, what are we doing? So when it comes from memory, from experience, from reality, from something that you embody, it's gonna hit different. So we need to lean into that. Okay. So like the 100-day challenge, like the 7 seeds of social capital, the 5-star pitch, the Afro method, the elephant diet, like all the stuff that I teach y'all. 5 levels of entrepreneurship. I'm just blah, 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 blah. Baby, I do this. I live this. I've been teaching this. Thousands of people at this point I've taught this to. I read this. I built a company doing this. Like this is how I show up in the world. So it comes out of me in that way. And if you're writing or doing content about something you don't know about, that's okay too. But then show up as that. Say, I'm a student. This is what I'm learning today. So far, this is what I learned. Let me share with y'all what I learned. What you think about this? You could be a student and still guide people somewhere. But it has to come from you, and you have to embody it. Somebody had a question. Let me get through these. It's a few more. Hold on. Think about the words that you're using and make sure, like I said, that we choose the vocabulary that sounds like you, that will resonate with your audience. Okay? And the more you can streamline it, the better. Okay? Let your words land and do all the things. Make sure that if you're showing up on camera, go ahead and get comfortable doing that. Just find it. You can find it. You can do it. You got to find it. Okay. But just have some posture, breathe, and do what you got to do. But just understand that your body is communicating just as much as your words are. Okay. And don't, how do I say this one? Don't water down what's true for you. You got to stand on something. You got to stand on something. You're not here to, you're not a reporter. You're not a journalist. Okay. You're not here to capitulate. I was watching a video the other week and I thought it was really interesting. And it was 2 guys on there. So the first guy goes and he says, I think based on this, I think that this is actually what's going on out here. I can't believe it, but here's the proof. Da, da, da. So then his friend doubles down. And he's like, yeah, because based on according to that, it's da, 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 da. And he took a stand. And I was like, I never heard anybody think of it that way. So then the first host immediately capitulates. He's like, well, we don't want to say that because maybe, could be, I don't want to offend nobody. I clicked off. I was about to subscribe. I actually unsubscribed. I had subscribed. I unsubscribed because I was like, I don't have time for you. I need you to have a worldview. Let me decide. If I don't want to be here, I can leave. You don't need to be waffling, trying to please everybody. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So be present, be clear, be grounded, walk like you got somewhere to go, speak like you mean what you say, show up in authenticity, and that's it. That's it. Okay. Now, somebody got a question before I move on? Okay. So now, make sure you understand the game. Because I keep talking about we're not here to get 1 million followers, although some of you might. That's not the end game. I need you to have enough people who are checking for you, so you always have a flow of new people coming into your business, so you can make $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 months and go head on. That's all we're trying to do. You need to find that magic number and know how many people you need and make sure that social media is feeding that. Because ultimately, one day, some of you guys will end up running paid ads. But if you try to do it now before you got the clarity around your voice and your messaging and how to show up one-to-many, it's a total waste of money. And that's getting more and more expensive. And by the way, if you're going to run some ads, you need to run them. You need to be the first wave of people who are running ads on ChatGPT. That's where it's headed. Google search is dead. Google ads is next. Okay. But anyway, there's different models on social media. So you got to be clear. You're not looking for broad awareness, 100 million people following you and all this kind of stuff. Because the way they monetize is through, monetizing their channel, advertising, people who are clicking through, and brand deals. Okay. That would be a media business. That would be where you are the product, not when you're trying to sell a product. Okay. You can do that. A subset of that would be like if you had a cult. So think of people that everybody knows who they are. Then think of people who everybody in their niche knows who they are. Same thing though. They had a bunch of followers and all of that, and they get brand deals. You are the product. Okay. Like that lady on social that has 11 kids. I think she just had baby number 11 or something. That's her model. And those people go crazy. They love her. They in the comments. They don't play by her. And she got her brand deals and she's going head on. You know what I mean? But that is a very specific business model. But she's not selling anything. She don't have to. Okay. You can have the kind of channel where you're just demonstrating use of a product or a service. They see you using it. They see you in different contexts, that, like hairdresser type channel. And they're just doing the thing. And before and after, it's like, well, oh my God. And of course, when I get to Atlanta, I'm calling this lady. She says, you can do my hair. Like, it's very straightforward type of channel. You can do that. And it drives conversions. You know what I'm saying? You can, people sell like protein powder, workout supplements and all kind of stuff. They just go in the gym, do the thing. Right. And then it's like, by the way, use this or whatever. Okay. You can do that. And the more education you provide, the easier it's going to be to sell through in that way. Right. Now, the way that I'm talking about this work is building authority. Building authority by demonstrating your value to people, giving them extremely focused content, demonstrating a depth of knowledge, and you're showing them a pathway. And you show up, every piece of content is a step on that pathway that somebody's going to experience. And you talk about your approach to that, how you helped clients with that, how you overcame that, what the experts are saying about that. I tried somebody else's framework and how they solved this problem. And here's what happened for me. This is what I learned about watching the movie. This is what helped me with entrepreneurship. Like you talk about their journey to demonstrate your expertise. And then obviously that drives people to your email list. Then they can get a free thing. Well, that's how they get on your email list. That's the free thing. And then they have a low ticket thing. And then you can bring them on to something, a higher price point. Okay. You can do this. You can do this. Everybody can do this. That's why I focus on this model, because there are other models. I don't teach that. I'm not teaching you how to be a gamer and a streamer, and that's not what I'm talking about. A lot of these principles will apply, but that's not what I'm talking about here. Okay. So we're building a business around your expertise, your authority, your ability to communicate with your audience and make them want to take another action with you. Even if you are selling a product, right? Even if you, like for Moonjug, we're doing the same approach for Moonjug. Because when I educate you about what water really does, and all water is not the same, and let me help you understand how this is affecting your health. You keep drinking the Kroger water if you want to, you know what I mean? And having all the content around that, it's like, by the way, you don't have to go through this, because we do, deliver to the house, like what we talking about. And then now that I can do my live selling in app without being on TikTok, I cracked the code. So, they can literally be on their phone and just bloop, bloop, and never leave the conversation, never leave the live stream, and they could purchase right there. I figured out how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a book, you could do the same thing. You're talking about topics from the book, talking about why you wrote the book. You go in and interviewing some of the people that you researched for the book. You talk to 2 people who have read the book. You talk, just book. You're talking about other books that influenced your book. You got a book club, And by the way, and they could click right there where they're watching you. Or go, of course, go through to your link in bio or whatever and do the thing. That's all we're doing, y'all. It's very straightforward. And these things work for you. Now you're creating assets, little armies, little soldiers in your army. Every piece of content becomes a soldier in the army, like in the army of the Lord, like a soldier out here that works for you. So somebody could be 2:00 in the morning, they binging, and then they come across your thing. And they're like, oh, that was amazing. And they click on your page, and then you have a whole page full. And they just, oh, this is dope. So by the time they watch 5-10 of your videos, they know your name. They're all into it. They're in the comments. They're like, I love it here. They're on your email list. And you wake up in the morning, it's 5 new people on your email list. Well, what happened? Your content is working for you. So now once we get our emails automated, which we're going to work on, I'm going to give y'all a slight break this weekend, but not for real. I mean, I'll be here every day at 2:00, but I'm not going to give you, heavy new stuff to learn or whatever. But I'm going to get you ready for next week. We're going to get our email life together. We'll get our whole life. We have to get our email life together. We can't play these games anymore. So I'm gonna get you ready for that. But we're not trying to be famous. Here's my point. You're not trying to be famous. You are leading someone on a very specific journey. You've identified your worldview, and you've talked to enough humans. You know that there's enough people out here who resonate exactly with that. I wish I had a telescope or some kind of visual, but it energetically is a match. But even if they're on the other side of the world, because they work for us, you can reach them with your content. And the good thing is about how they've rewritten the algorithm is the more clear you are on what it is that you're here to talk about, the algorithm serves it up to anybody who has demonstrated interest in that topic. It's not based on who's following you. The algorithm will serve it up to whoever is interested in that topic. So the more you can get clear what you're talking about, then there's some advanced strategies like actually looking for the, how do you say that? The hooks, the titles, and the topics that are trending and stuff like that. There's tools that you can use to tell you what people are already thinking about looking for. So once you clarified your value, then that's a trick from the publishing game. Y'all don't know about book publishing. That you write your book about whatever you want to write it about. They said it actually don't matter. But the cover of that book needs to be what the audience wants to see. Because they're not going to read the book. They're going to look at the cover, look at the title, then they're going to flip it over, and they're going to read what's on the back, and then they go, and then the front little cover they used to have in the old school books, and they read that. And that's what's going to make them decide if they're going to buy the book or not. So your cover, your hook, your thumbnail, your title, all of that, your description has to meet people where they are. And then once they get in there, let's go. Of course, you're going to cover that, but your style and your voice and all of that will be fine. Once you've built a community now, I just saw this example today. Once you build a community, this man had a title and said, they think they're fooling us, and got 4 million views. What does that mean? What is that about? It was just a picture of him in a black background. Nothing. It wasn't no fancy, nothing. But you know why it worked? Because he already has a community. They already know him now. So it don't matter what he said, they go click on it. And that's why I'm trying to get you to understand that we can get to that place. But right now you have to show up with intentionality. You can't just show up how you want to show up and then get it in your feelings when it don't work. You got to get some home training. You got to get some training. Okay. So that we can put it in the right format so the algorithm can work for us. Okay. Because it doesn't compute. If you hire somebody, you're not speaking the same language as them, they're just going to stand there and look at you. But if you start speaking what the algorithm is looking for, it's going to serve you up to people. You're going to get views. And then if you do it with the clarity that I'm talking about, you're going to get the engagement. And then they're going to be locked into the community. And they get on your email list. And then it's going to work. It's going to work. We can do this. Okay. So we're not trying to be famous. We're building trust. Extreme depth of your topic. Not today, I'm going to show you how I cook in my kitchen. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about my computer science skills. And then tomorrow, I'm going to talk about homeschooling. And then tomorrow, after that, I'm going to talk about hiking. And then, because you're not an influencer, you're going to have extreme depth in your field of expertise in all different creative ways and conversations and things that you can talk about people who are interested in that and who are on a journey trying to get a transformation in that field. That's what you do. If you want to talk about something else, you have to start another channel. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, challenges, feedback, perspectives, and personal story time. What y'all got? We want to have consistent value, 11 touches to notice, 2 hours to trust you, and ultimately 4 different platforms. But we can start with one. Go ahead. Whoever wants to say something.
It's funny that you're talking about this. I just was writing or drafting my Substack article for this week, and it was feeling not like it was. I don't know what the word is, but it wasn't connecting with me. Like if I were a person reading this article and I didn't know where to start with my website, what would I want to see, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I tried to personalize it a little bit more to put in the title the frustration, mm-hmm. So that they could see, maybe if they click this, then it'll help them with this particular problem. So I feel like I am doing a lot of tweaking as I go, mm-hmm. and as I talk to people, as I think more and read more, I'm doing little tweaks. Like you said, it is something that I have to be conscious of as I'm changing things, mm-hmm. to like go back and update my website to reflect, mm-hmm. Certain things. Like I just added a section. I finally got my my template up for sale.
Hey.
It's there. I put it on my website, yes. Made it look nice, and I linked it to my Substack article. And I'm trying to create this kind of ecosystem, mm-hmm. where everything. I would love to connect my Substack to my website, so I could be like, here's our blog, yes. or and then as I publish things will auto-populate, so it's kind of everywhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like I'm focusing more on, like you said, I've been focusing on the pain and frustration, but just, tweaking it to make it better. And then it's funny that you say, the cover has to look like something that someone would want to read or buy. Mm-hmm. Because I was just telling my husband, I was like, I would buy that. Because I look at design, mm-hmm. I'm like, because I know that they paid attention. And I'm like, this looks nice.
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, they can get you with the marketing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yep, pretty
it's
much.
It's human nature. That's how it goes.
Yeah. I'm like, I like that. It's nice. And, the psychology of it, I know they spent time looking to see what will work for their customers. So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all look for 5 to 10 creators that are similar to what you want to do, but not big ones. People that have less than 200,000 followers. 10K to 200K is a really good marker. And find these people and study them. What videos are getting a lot more views than their average? What videos are driving a lot of engagement? Or if you're writing, look for that, their articles. What's driving a lot of conversation and comments? Read the comments, on their posts and on their stuff. and allow that to inform how you are updating, tweaking, and elevating your stuff, right? So if you can get 1% better a day, 1% better, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me work on my just my subject line or my hook this week, my title. Let me get my first 3 seconds of my first paragraph, make sure it's on point. Now, the good thing for you guys is I really, truly do have templates for all of this stuff. I'm just like, I don't want to overwhelm you. But once I figure out how to organize it, I'm going to be sharing some of that in some way, because I just got cussed out. I thought I was out of the cussed out era, and then we back. Because they were like, you giving away what? You're not charging what? So we're going to figure it out. But anyway, there are templates for all of this. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you go on Substack and type or YouTube, if you go on YouTube, you're trying to be on YouTube. If you go on LinkedIn or Substack has most of all of it. Not YouTube. YouTube, you'll find it there. But my point is, if you go in there and look for people who are teaching how to be great on those platforms, you will find them. And they're super detailed, like extremely detailed, amazing, gifted, giving teachers. Just like I'm giving y'all so much value, they really are breaking it all the way down. Here's how you do it. Here are the templates, blah, 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 blah. So look for some of them as well. Okay. But study people who are in your field, in your niche, people who are speaking the way you would like to show up. Study what's working and why. Not copy and paste their stuff, right? But study what's working and allow that to inform the structure, the format, how you start to show up in your work. And it's going to get better, a little bit better every day. Create a lab, okay? Figure out a place, a time during the day, during the week, maybe in the weekend, like in a batch or whatever, but a time where you can like just make 10 videos, or just like a time every morning. I'm writing some of the most successful folks who are doing this. They have a YouTube and a Substack and a this and a that, but they have the same time every morning where they're writing. So they write long form, whatever idea that they want to, talk about or get out. And they turn that into a YouTube script, and they chop that up, and it goes on Instagram, chop something up, goes over here, take some of that, it goes on Substack, like that. So if you're a writer primarily, you could do it that way, but have a consistent time in it, like a lab, like where you have a list of ideas that you want to, do and talk about, and some kind of format that you are, allowing yourself to learn how to structure, the hook, the this, the that, and every piece of content, get you a consistent format, and then show up at a consistent time every day or every week and create that content in batches. Just get in there. Okay. You can test different formats, different hooks, different topics, different styles until you find something that's working. So you should have a time on your schedule where you're studying your 5 or 10 people that you picked out. A time on your schedule where you're studying how to get better at whatever platform you're focusing on. And a time in your schedule where you're actually sitting down and creating that content every day, every week, right? That's what I need you to do. That's what I need you to do. Anybody else want to share comments, questions, concerns, challenges, feedback, perspectives, and personal story time? Because once you do it enough, you'll actually be able to come up with almost like a template. It's like, this is how I show up. Here's my hook. I goes right here. Here's my problem statement, whatever, Here's my whatever, and it'll get faster over time. Okay. It'll get faster. And then instead of it feeling like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, it'll start feeling like a factory where you just putting out the content, slight iterations, track what works, on the weekend when you're planning for the next week. Just look at what's working. Look at what got engagement. Look at what people are responding to. Look at the kind of questions you're getting. And, whatever ideas you got, and then do it again. Next week, we're going to be better than we were last week. It compounds over time, y'all. Keep it going. Keep working. So an experimentation lab, the study, keep that, list pretty tight. You don't want to just be researching for your whole life. But pulling in new strategies and stuff, the things that work, we want to do more of that. When we find a format that works, don't just stop doing it. Do more of that. Do some more videos like that. Do another piece like that. The one that worked that got responses. Okay. And then if something doesn't work, let's go back to the lab and replace it. Okay. So you should have, by the time you finish this process, 3 to 4, let's say, templates of ways that you show up, types of videos, types of posts, types of content that you do that you know you're going to get a pretty good outcome from your audience. Okay. And then you could scale. Then it's time to start talking about maybe I should get a social media manager and all this kind of stuff everybody want to do. You don't know what to tell them to do yet. So why would you pay somebody to do all this experimentation you need to be doing? Because you know how to talk to your audience and you know what they're looking for. Nobody could do this part but you. You don't have that kind of budget, so why would you do that? Any other comments, questions, challenges, concerns, feedback, perspectives, or personal story time? I love it here. I do. I really do. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a part of your journey because, we're rising. We got stuff to do. We got to hurry up and get this done while we still have time. And I think that, mind you, I didn't say nothing about analytics before we go. We're not on that part yet. So all the cost conversion, all we want to know is, did a human see it and did they respond and read the comments? That's all we're doing right now. I just want to make that clear because you got to experiment long enough to know what's going on before you start getting into the weeds with it like that. Okay. So, but as we do this work, you guys, anybody else have a comment, feel free to say something. But as we're doing this work, just remember that you're in control of your own, the pace of how long this takes, because the place is always here and the time is always now. Like you can collapse time, really, truly, just by getting present, saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm locking in. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I don't know. But what I do know, I'm going to implement it. Boom. You hold that energy. Then you come up here to the 4D, the unseen part where your idea came from, and you tap in. Ideas. And what did I tell you? Spend some time doing your research. Look for 5 to 10 people who are in your field, not people with tens of millions of followers, people who are below 200,000, and pick 5 to 10 channels to follow and look at the type of content that they're creating and the style and how they're showing up and whatever that is. Study that. Think about the problem that you're solving, the transformation you provide, and what that journey is. And write a list of topics that you want to talk about. Have a time on your calendar to show up and just start making content. Every day, every week. You could do it in batches at the end of the week, or you could do it, every day. And that's all. That's it. Commit to that and let the system start working before you just hear me talking and never change anything. Okay. Because all we're going to do is now connect that. That's what we're going to talk about this weekend. Taking the basic pieces that you should have been doing already, your very basic lead magnet, somewhere to capture somebody's email address and all of that, and make sure that's connected to what you're posting, either on your links, your link tree or whatever, or in your description, your call to action, your caption. Okay. That's all we're doing. So if y'all are good, it sounds like hearts and minds are clear. So this is what I want to tell you. I am not your friend. I am not your mentor. I am not your advisor. I'm not a therapist. I am your coach. And I'm not your leader. I am a mirror. I'm here to reflect back to you all the value that you already have on the inside of you. And what do you do when you look in the mirror? And you look in the mirror and you see something you don't like. Michael Jackson already told us we make a change. So as I reflect to you the greatest, highest version of yourself, anything that doesn't align with that, just make the adjustment. And we're going to be all right. So that's how we're going to build our business. So drink your water, mind your business, build your business. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Until then, we got to go. I got to go.